What's up, guys? It's Motorco here, and in this video, I want to talk to you about four wall. Alright, so I got some colorful comments on my YouTube channel concerning four wall. This all started very innocently. All I said was, hey, I'm not a fan of four wall. I don't even have the card. And then, they kind of, started poking at me, and eventually it came down to this right here. Not worth it for you, maybe. Our playstyle, decks, and budget may be different. It is, have been, and will still be one of the best options available, at least for a bit longer. While you may not have a place for it in your current or future deck, your budget, or you simply don't like it, you can't deny the stats on it, which are not currently available elsewhere. And we'll get to this. It has certainly helped me a lot. Other people will get to the top 500 last tower event, for example, and I'll get to that here in just a second. I'm about to blow that out of the water. I notice you keep saying that anything you don't use is not whether you feel bad about how players invest their resources. I'd appreciate a bit more objectivity. Um, yeah, I do feel bad for other players and how they spend their resources because a lot of times they listen to the flavor of the month and the popular opinion, and they're not doing the research as to what is smart and what is actually good. Okay. Um, so that kind of, I mean, that's my rebuttal to that. That's what I got to say to that. And then this guy, he goes on to kind of compliment me, and that's fine. Thank you for your comment and thank you for what you said, but I totally disagree with you concerning the four wall comments. And you said that I'm very opinionated and put down a lot of things I personally don't like. This has nothing to do with my personal opinion. As a matter of fact, my personal opinion is that really honestly, there's not very many augmentable cards right now. My personal opinion is that of all the cards available right now, I would say there's only maybe six to eight mandatory augmentable cards. Um, and if you do anything outside of that, it's pretty stupid. That's my personal opinion, but that's not what I recommend. That's not ever what I recommend on YouTube. I try to give general recommendations based off of people's needs. And that's what I try to stick to. Now, as you can see, I've augmented several cards by myself. These are just cards that I feel that I need to succeed right now because I have, like you, have resources available to be able to do it. But I have a very good reason for why I think that four wall is bad. You're going to have to excuse my coughing. I apologize. So these are the cards that I feel are basically mandatory augments right now. Vanilla and Fang, Jack Shot, and the Force cards. And a very borderline card is Fat Chocobo. Um, Everything else you can leave alone and be just fine. And the only reason I say those cards basically quote quote mandatory augments is because they last forever. They especially the force cards. The force cards absolutely never go bad. Even in Japan, they're still being used on a very large scale. A lot of that has to do with the job swaps in single player, but in multiplayer, they're pretty much used exclusively by attackers um, because they're such great cards. As a matter of fact, I think they're even used as defenders. I'm not 100% on that. I know breakers could possibly use them in the future because they gain all of the benefits of the poo poo, and then you don't have to waste as many actions driving after that. Because you'll have access to all the orbs that you're ever going to need for whatever you need them for. You could also make the case that if you're only gaining one type of orb, that means you only have to drive one type of orb, and thus are saving actions in the long run. But let's address four wall, guys. Let's break down four wall. Um, the thing about four wall is if you're not using it with 6 actions, then you're totally wasting it. And for you to be able to have 6 actions available, chances are you're going to be on turn 3 or 4 or close to the break turn, anyways. And by that time, generally 9 times out of 10, you're going to have Artemis. And if you think I'm crazy, how do you think it is that assassins almost always have Artemis when they go to break the boss? How do you think it is that black mages have force cards almost always before they go to break the boss? They're like getting 2 hard orbs is not hard in the slightest, guys. It really isn't. And let me show you an example of what I'm talking about here. So this is a pre-recorded video that I took earlier to try and showcase Dancer, and I'm going to use it for a different reason. We'll get to Dancer later. This is just one example of many, many, many fights that I've recorded. I can show you. Just go back. You know what? I don't even have to show you. Just go back to all of my YouTube videos and watch all of my multiplayer videos. And I promise you, there's very, very rare. It's actually more rare that a breaker doesn't get Artemis before he has to break the boss than he does. Okay, so let's look at this. This is let's look at this turn again. So you're gonna notice that the Black Mage and the Breaker both have 2 hard available to use whatever ability they need on the 3rd turn. This is the 3rd turn of the fight, and this is a 4-turn. This is a 4-turn kill on Odin. So basically, that whole argument about Artemis and everything like that, there's a huge disconnect there, and it's a lot of misinformation being spread by pro 4-wall people who are excited about the effects of 4-wall. Another thing that I have never seen anybody try to argue is that your orb generation, you're choking the party by doing just 2 attacks, okay? So if you use 4-wall, you use all 3 of your actions, okay? Not only are you not saving actions for the future when you need them, but you're also using a subpar card doing basically no damage because your class has 113 magic. 113% magic. And it doesn't get much higher as I raise the levels. It's still like around 114, 115, guys. I could do a max level deck and it'd still be like 115 magic. So you're basically you're not even hitting your damage cap because your magic is so low. And you're not driving orbs for the party. And if you're using the assassin weapon, you're not even gaining the benefit of the using one of the major benefits of using the assassin weapon outside of break power, which is the elemental 3rd strike ability. Okay, doing 3 auto attacks in a row gives you 7 orbs instead of 6, which is huge. It's a huge benefit. And even if you didn't have the elemental 3rd strike ability, you'd still be netting 3 orbs just for that one action. That's what's called worth, guys. That's value. The reason why people are able to finish fights quickly is not because they break fast. You could break on turn 2, but it doesn't matter if your attacker has no orbs to kill the boss. I mean, if he has no orbs, he has no orbs. He's not going to be able to cast a spell. And then you're just going to look stupid because you broke on turn 2, okay? A lot of times, most fights are broke on turn 4 or 5, okay? Very rarely are they ever broke on 3. And usually when they do, it's a kill on turn 4 anyways because they still have to get their orb situation straightened out. So breaking fast while good is not necessarily the best thing. And let's So basically you're trying to come up with this pipe dream scenario where you have 6 actions, you have 4 wall, and you do 5 actions and you break the boss. And you're trying to make the case for that's the most efficient way to play Hunter. That's not the only way to play Hunter. It's not even really the most efficient way to play Hunter. And anybody who's played a Hunter could tell you that before 4 wall even came out, Hunters had no problems breaking 2-star bosses. And then this whole 4 wall thing started because of the tower event. So let's talk about the tower event. Why was 4 wall so successful for tower? 4 wall was successful for tower because it was the only source of haste available in the game. But that has just been blown out of the water this month. We have access to haste now, either via Hermes or the Ghetto Haste, the True Win card. So that's pretty much that right there just blows 4 wall away. And if that doesn't blow 4 wall away, panels 5 through 8 are going to blow 4 wall away because Hunters are going to basically be mitigated to the sidelines in panels 4 through 8 until well, basically forever, because Assassins are just ridiculous, and then they get replaced by some of the monk classes later on down the line. Okay? Assassins, an 8-panel Assassin has 760 break. An 8-panel Hunter, boosted, has barely that much more break than that. Okay? Like, they can barely get there even when they're boosted. So a boosted Assassin is just going to totally outclass anything that Hunter can do. And as a result, Assassin is going to be the best breaker in the game for quite some time. I've been saying it for a long time. And I've been saying it for the past couple months, guys. Assassin is no joke. So anyways, I mean, that's kind of where we're at, really. You guys are sitting here trying to say that 4 wall is augmentable. I can't recommend that as a YouTuber to somebody who has semi-limited resources and is looking to try and see what his best augment is. I mean, if the card is already almost obsolete, like it's already halfway out the door, okay, then how are you going to say, oh, well, you should waste 2 grow stars on this. You only get 4 grow stars a month. Let's use half your grow stars on a card that's going to be obsolete, 2 weeks after you freaking augment it. Like, that's stupid. So yeah, that's why I don't like 4 wall, guys. 4 wall is a flavor of the month card, just like Drain was. When Adam and Terrapin Tower event was out, and everybody was saying, oh, you need to augment Drain to get high in the Adam and Terrapin Tower. That was bollocks then. It's bollocks now, and that's why 4 wall is not that good. Guys, another thing, my opinions are not based off of what I think is good or what I think is bad. My opinions are based off of research. I go to forums, I read the forums, I talk to players, I look at Japanese videos, I look at all of these different sources of information, I compile them and come to a conclusion based off of what I know about the game and my own personal experience. And my own personal experience right now is telling me that 4 wall is a track card. You take it with a grain of salt if you want, but when I'm right, I want you guys to come back and apologize. That's what I want. Anyways, that's what I have for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next video.